Yeah, so I discovered Lovecraft with the role-playing game, The Call of Cthulhu. Like a lot of people, I played a role-playing game with my friend. I remember that I really loved the universe of the role-playing game. We said just before that about freedom, and I felt the same, in the role-playing game. So I play a lot of role-playing games, The Call of Cthulhu, and after that, I've said to myself, I have to know who wrote these stories. And so I searched and I began to read all the Lovecraft thing I can have in my hand.
Hey, what's up, Vox and Hops heads? I'm Matt, the vocalist of Cryptopsy and the host of the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast, brought to you by Sound Talent Media and Evergreen Podcasts, where I sit down with fellow metal musicians, talk all about their lives and music while sharing killer craft beers. I hope that you've had a wonderful week. I most certainly did. This Vox and Hops episode is presented by Season of Mist. Season of Mist are the world's largest independent metal label. That's right. And it also happens to be the label that Cryptopsy will be releasing their brand new album, as well as a bunch of their back catalog on. I am beyond stoked to be on Seasons of Mist. I have been loving my experience. The whole team is simply incredible, and I'm super excited to continue Cryptopsy's legacy as a Season of Mist artist. Season of Mist is dropping a bunch of amazing albums in the next few weeks. There is Revenge's album, Violation, Strife, and Abominate, that will be dropping on January 31st. In February, there is Sayor, that's going to be dropping their album, Amidst the Ruins, on February 7th. There's Savage Lands, that's going to be dropping their album, Army of the Trees, on February 14th. And there is Retromorphis, that will be dropping their album, Salmus Mortis, on February 21st. I'm beyond stoked to have Season of Mist presenting this episode and to be working with Vox and Hops. Now, before we jump into today's episode, I'd just like to ask you to follow the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast on the podcast platform of your choice. But more than that, I would love for you to tell a friend about the podcast. If there's someone in your life that just loves extreme metal and happens to also enjoy craft beers, well, you should definitely let them know that the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast exists. You can tell them that there are over 480 episodes where I sit down with some of the world's best metal musicians, and we talk all about their lives and music while sharing killer craft beers. If you would encourage one of your craft beer-loving metalhead friends to become a brand new Vox and Hops head, that would be something that I would truly appreciate. Now, today on the podcast, I'm very stoked to be with Benjamin Guerry of The Great Old Ones. Get ready, everyone. This is Vox and Hops, episode number 484.
I warn you, what you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Today I'm very stoked to be with Benjamin Guerry of The Great Old Ones. We're hanging out. This is cool. We're label mates. Season of Mist putting us together. Shout out to Will for hooking us up together. Makes me happy to hang out with fellow label mates, and I love Season of Mist, and I'm happy to be a part of this, and I'm sure that you are too. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. Perfect.
I love it. It's a nice snowy day, and here in Montreal, my kids are all excited to go sliding after this interview. So let's do it. Vox and Hops, I hang out with my metal friends, talk about life and music while sharing craft beers. What do you have a beer on your side there, Benjamin?
Not this time. I work all day, so to be honest, I can't drink alcohol now. Maybe after, but at this time, just before we began to speak together, I worked, so I can't drink alcohol when I work. It's
You
not
can't drink.
possible.
No, it's not. You gotta be responsible people. And Benjamin is saying the right thing here. Do not mix alcohol with work because, unless you create a job like I did, where I can, that's my problem, not yours. This is a beer from Boréale, and it's a collab with Sir John. It's from here in the province of Quebec. Every Christmas, they tend to do a collab series together. They put out a Christmas beer, and that's exactly what this one is. It's called a Bébelles, which is
Well,
a bunch of stuff, basically translates roughly in English. Bébelles, a bunch of things. It looks like he's moving in the artwork or they're going somewhere. I don't know. This is a West Coast Pilsner. So it's a Pilsner that has been hopped with a bunch of really weird, funky New Zealand hops. Crush being one of them. Actually, no, Crush is not in the Superdelic's a New Zealand hop. Crush is HBC 586, the experimental hop that they've renamed, and then classic Chinook hops, 5.1%. It's a nice Thursday afternoon beer. I'm going to crack this, and I would love to hear about your very first beer. Do you remember the first beer that you ever drank?
Oh yes, but uh, in at the same time, it's a good remembering and not a good one. But I'm sure it's the same for a lot of people.
Oh, it
But
happens.
I remember. I think I don't remember my age at this time. Maybe 14,
14.
15.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, in France.
France, I
You
was going to say, yeah.
know. And I think at the first time I'm drinking beer, I think I didn't like it a lot. It's very sour, so I'm not sure. But I remember after that I can't remember nothing.
Oh, so it was more than one beer.
Yeah,
There was a
yes,
few
yes.
beers that,
Yeah, yeah. I think I was with some other friends, and I want to make the same than them.
yeah,
So
you
I,
sucked it up, even though you didn't like it. You pushed through it.
yeah, yeah. And I drank that, and I in the other way, But I don't want to say the word. But no, a good remembering, but at the same time, not very perfect.
It's like a foray with extreme music. You start off with it and it's a bit too much for you, and then you push through it anyways to enjoy it, and then you end up falling in love with it and have a good
Yeah,
experience out of maybe a bad experience at the same time.
well, it's true, but with the extreme metal, I think extreme music, I began progressively, with just I think the first rock album I booked was Smash by The Offspring. So
Yes.
after that is Metallica. After that, well, very quickly I remember that I booked Metallica, and just after that something like Dimmu Borgir,
That's a
So
big jump then.
yes, exactly. But so it was not too hard for me. The beer was a
It was
lot
much harder.
harder than that, yes.
Have you ever gotten to that, or did you stick to wine, or do you just not drink? Is it just not your thing? Have you gotten more into beer since your 14-year-old experience,
Yeah,
or are
so
you more of a hard liquor, spirits, or what's your poison?
I think my poison is all the alcohol. No, I said that I was 14 years old, but I make some I take some alcoholic road since
Okay.
this time. So now I like red wine. Of course, I am from Bordeaux. So
Ooh, okay. Yes,
from Bordeaux,
beautiful.
it's
Yeah.
the city of wine. So I like red wine. I like white wine, but I like vodka. I like gin. And I like beer. And at this time, I think uh, I drink a lot of IPA beer.
Hmm.
I think it's very nice. It's different. Sometimes I'm prefer just a pils one, or just a blonde one, light. But when I want to drink with more tasty beer, I take an IPA sometimes.
Nice, nice. I'm excited to come back to France. I'm coming back to France in May with
Okay.
Decapitated and Warbringer and Carnation. And we toured last year Europe for the first time since 2019, but we didn't play a single show in France. So
Oh,
I didn't have a chance to go and drink beers since it's going to be 5 years basically, or yeah, 6 years basically by the time we come back that I'll be back in
6 years.
France. So I'm
Okay.
excited to see how the craft beer industry has evolved in France.
Um, the craft beer involved, it's sure because there are a lot of I don't know the word in English, but small.
Yeah,
Uh,
microbreweries. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But we drink a lot of beer from Belgium,
Hmm.
I think
You
it's
can't go wrong
just near
there.
France,
Oh yeah,
so we import a lot of
Belgian beers.
beer from Belgium.
Yes.
So in France, they are some French beer, but well, I think we like to import. We have our French beer, but we take from Belgium, from USA, from all that thing.
Exciting. I'm excited. I'm excited to taste it and suffer, maybe, but probably
Yeah, but
not.
you have to try the beer, the French beer, but you have to try the red wine too. And
Mhm.
the red wine. I don't know if you play in Bordeaux. I'm not sure. Generally
I don't remember, to be honest. We're playing
in
in
Paris or
Lyon. I know we're doing. I'm.
Bordeaux.
This is how much I'm showing how much I know geography in France. I'm sorry. I know we're playing Paris. I know that we're playing Lyon and we're playing a few others, but I can't remember. But
I will take a look if you play in Bordeaux. Yeah,
you
I
come
will
and
be
hang.
there.
We'll
I
have
will be
yeah.
there
Heck yes.
to make you taste some good red wine from
Heck yes.
Bordeaux.
I remember playing Bordeaux with Aborted many years ago. It was like 2019 or something, 2018, I think. Crazy how time goes.
And maybe you know our famous technical death metal band from Bordeaux, Gorod.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
They
yeah.
were just here. Flo was hanging out with them at Trois-Rivières Metal Fest.
Mm.
Not this
Friend of
past weekend, the one before. He was hanging
a
out with
very
them.
good friend of us, yes.
Very cool. Actually, I have to talk to you about something afterwards.
Yeah.
Um, the soundtrack, you spoke a little bit about what you were listening to, getting into metal. I'd like to hear what was going on in your house as a classic Vox and Hops question. When you were not in control of the radio, when you were growing up in your parents' or guardians' house, what music was playing? What music did they listen to? Your parents, your guardians, the people around you, what were they listening to? And you were there consuming because you had no choice.
Yeah, my parents are not very music lovers. They listen to music, but not not a lot. So I think when I was young, they listen a lot of uh, in French, we say variété française in the French variety, like
Yeah,
a French singer. So they listen to Johnny Hallyday or something like that. So I think I had to listen to that. But to be honest, for the little story, um, I remember that when you would take at this time when you take some gays, at the gas station,
yes.
if you give I don't know in euro it's something like 2 or 3 euro, you have a CD, a compact disc,
At a gas
and
station, at a service station.
exactly. And I remember that they take a compilation, and there was some song like the Lambada,
Hmm.
Lambada, Marie Laforest, a French singer, and there is a Europe song. And when I was young, my favorite song of this compilation was Europe because there is some electric guitar on it.
Heck yeah.
So
That was my song growing up. Play it again,
yeah,
Dad. The final countdown. Play it
yeah.
again. That was my
Maybe
song.
it's the final corner, or maybe the ballad "Open Your Heart."
Mm.
It's like just some of electric guitar, but I remember that I said to myself, "Oh, I like this. I very like this. I prefer that like the lambada."
This is more for me.
Yeah.
And then you moved on to The Offspring, to Metallica, to Dimmu Borgir. What was your parents' reaction when all this extreme music made its way inside the
Oh,
house?
to be totally honest, my parent, especially at this time, was very Christians.
Uh-huh. Dimmu
So
Borgir
maybe,
was a lot. Yeah.
yeah, of
The
course.
face paint, everything. Yeah.
Maybe it for that I wanted to listen to that, to be honest, when I
Uh-huh.
was young. Maybe it's a type of rebellion.
Yeah, hell yes.
So I want to put my poster of, I remember my poster of Spiritual Black Dimension with the angel burn on the poster. Wow, I was young. And
That's it. Did your parents, how did
and
they react? Did they let you?
no, no, no. Directly no, no. It's not the music. Imagine for normal parents who not very Christians. I'm sure metal music is not they don't want
They
the
lost you. They
children
feel
want to
like
listen
they've
to.
lost their sheep. The sheep has gone to the wrong
Maybe, yes,
pasture.
exactly. And imagine with black metal with
Hmm.
Christian parents. So it was difficult. Now I'm 42 years old, so it's finished, no problem. But when I was young, it was very particular. They accept, but I think they didn't have the choice. So
The passion was there. The passion was
yeah,
there.
exactly. very quickly the passion was there. I I began to buy a lot of records, and I think they lost me a little. Yes.
It's and any parents listening, it's okay to let them go. Let them stray a bit, keep an eye on them. But if you force them and you hold them back, they're just going to rebel more, kids.
Yeah, it's true. And I think it would arrive because uh, I really want to. I think I really wanted to go into more extreme metal, maybe because they don't want me.
Their
They
their
didn't
their,
want
their
me to listen
knee-jerk
to it.
reaction to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
It was
So
just that's what made me like Marilyn Manson. Not that my parents didn't like it. It's just that it was so weird and so it made me feel bad. And I wanted to
mm,
explore that feeling.
yeah, it's
I
true.
felt uneasy. I would like put it on to go to sleep because that's a great idea, right? When you're a kid, you're like, let me go to sleep listening to beautiful people, you know, but it would make me feel scared at some points. It like it's like horror. It's the whole thing. It's fun. It's exciting. So
Yeah, it's
so
true. I think I have a fascination for that, for the metal music, extreme music, and at the same time for Lovecraft
mhm.
writing, for Stephen King writings,
Yes.
uh, for horror movies, you
Yes.
know. So yes, it's a fascination when you are young. I'm sure about that, and I'm sure it's not a bad thing. My parents have very strong reaction about that, but I think it was not a good thing because we fall apart from each other. So maybe it it's done now, but
It's in the past. And
yeah.
they came around. At what point did you start wanting to go farther than just owning and listening to music? At what point did you start creating music? Was it the guitar first that you grabbed onto? Do you remember that? And then that conversation with your parents of you wanting to be a musician?
With my parents was about the making music was not a problem. I remember that I really wanted an electric guitar, and my parents was agree with that, and I think I was yeah, at the same time, 14 years old, 14 or 15.
All at the same. I like how
Um,
all it's always like that when I talk to people. It's like rebelling, discovering alcohol, extreme music, playing instruments. It all comes at the same time, it tends to.
yeah, it's I think it's a freedom taste,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
and so my parents bought me my first electric guitar, but I'm I didn't play at this time directly. I think I'm really began to compose some music after that when I was something like 17 years old or 18 years old with some friends. And to be honest, I was not, and I'm not a very technical guitarist, but I, I can compose. And when I was 13 years old, I remember that a friend of me was a very good guitarist. He played all, to me, it's amazing. He played all the Slash solo, all
Yeah.
that thing. So I
Yeah.
said, wow, it's fantastic. But he's not very kind, as, as what I say, but uh, he, he, he can't compose some music.
Hmm.
He can play, but not compose. And me, with my poor technical level on guitar, ah, I can't at this time compose some great riff and something like that. So I say to myself, oh, I think I will be never a very great guitarist, but I can do my thing by compose and make my own emotions in music. So I think I began like that.
That's awesome. So some people are, and it is like that. Some people are generals that have like a whole like awareness of what's happening. So you can compose music and play with stuff, even though it might be technically outside of your grasp.
Hmm.
But you can think it and know that what it would be while writing it. Whereas other people are more like soldiers that can accomplish things and
Yeah.
get that done, but they can't do that step back to get away from the technical stuff and actually compose something. That's super interesting.
Yeah, I think there is something special when you compose some music. There is a you you have to be able to go inside yourself you
Hmm.
know, yourself to compose this music. And sometimes, but some people can make both. Huh? It's true.
No,
I've
no, no.
taken,
Some people are
yeah,
savants, the
yeah,
savants, the
yeah, yeah, it's true.
That's
But
amazing. But already writing at that age is special too. To know that you were just pure feeling, getting this cathartic release out
yeah.
through your instrument is so important, especially at 17, 14 to 17 years old. It's crucial for
But
creating.
at the beginning, I began in a punk rock band, you know.
Hmm.
So a little of emotions, but not enough for me. But
Hmm.
it was great. It was with my friends, so perfect. And after that, when I began to compose some black metal, or I think I began like in a band who played some of screamo music, you know,
Yeah,
screamo, something like that. But at this time already, I put
you
some
wanted more.
black
Yeah.
metal, some black metal
You're
riff
sneaking in
into
that they
music.
had band meetings. You're like, come on. They were like, this doesn't work here. You're like,
Yeah, I
no, it
want
works.
to
Trust
blast
me, it's
beat.
gonna be great.
I want my drummer did some blast beat. They say, no, I don't want to play blast beats.
We
Yeah,
can't choose. When we're young people, when you're forming bands, you gotta just get into a band. That doesn't mean
yeah,
that everyone's on the same page.
exactly.
They,
And
you,
sometimes it's weird to listen again when you
hmm.
what you made at this
Yeah,
time. You say, oh, what was nice? What?
yeah,
You
it's
say,
all over the
what is
place.
this? Just after this part, it's not possible, you know. And but it's nice. It's nice. It's a good remembering that.
It's all of the path of our journey. Talk to me about extreme vocals. Was it that screamo band? Was that the first band that you started screaming, doing harsh vocals?
Lead vocals, yeah, I made some backing vocals, but it just for the greater ones. I began to make the lead vocals.
Okay. Was that out of necessity, or was it something that you wanted because you wanted it to be your voice, your concept, your colors,
Mm,
let's say?
different things. I think I really want. It's my project. I began
Hmm.
alone in my bedroom to compose this
Control.
music. Yeah, yes, and I think at the beginning, uh, to control.
Mm.
I think I was a little dictator, and I learned year after year, and I think now I'm nice with that, but at the beginning was why it's particular. It's
Oh no, I understand it. And once again, it's with the journey again, and you learn as you go, and you can't be
yeah,
so rigid, especially in the music scene that we are in, where we're not rolling in the big bucks. So you gotta be nice to the people that are allowing you to do this,
yeah, it's true. And
and
at the beginning,
take care of your crew, your family, or the other musicians, even if it is
yeah.
like it
At the
started off as a
beginning,
one man.
yes, it's true. At the beginning, all the time, you think that it's the fault of the other people because you have your vision. It's always the fault of the others. And after that, maybe being older too,
Hmm.
uh, you say, "Well, no, no." I think there is something in me, in myself. It's
Maybe
not
I'm the
very nice.
problem.
Yeah, but we can work on ourselves all the
Yes, we
time. So
can.
I
We're,
think
we're
it's a
always
good,
a work in
good thing.
progress. I like
Yeah.
that. I
Okay.
like that. Talk to me about, do you remember the first time discovering Lovecraft? You've written a few records about Lovecraft lore. Do you
Yeah.
remember the first time you stumbled across that and what that experience was?
The first time I discovered Lovecraft.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I discovered Lovecraft with the role-playing game, The Call of Cthulhu.
Okay.
Like a lot of people, I think in France and maybe in the world, a lot of people discovered the Lovecraft with this role-playing game. And when I was at the metal music, I think when I was 13 or 14, and so I played a role-playing game with my friend, and I remember that I really loved the universe of the role-playing game. Um, we we said just before that about freedom, and I felt the same, you know, in the role-playing game.
Mm.
My parents, it's weird, but my parents had no problem with role-playing games, so it's I never understand that because
It's
for
still really
Christian,
weird and evil.
yeah, of course. And remember at this time in the 90s, role-playing games are very, very nice reputation, a
Hmm.
very, very bad reputation. Sorry, have a really, really bad reputation because, unfortunately, I think one or two teenagers killed themselves because
Oh
with the
wow.
problem
Okay.
of playing games sometimes when with some mental problem, you
Hmm.
know, these kids imagine their characters died, and
And it's
so
the
it's
end of the world. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's true. So. But they accept that. So I play a lot of role-playing games, the Call of Cthulhu, and after that, I've said to myself, I have to know who wrote these stories, and so I search and I began to read all the Lovecraft thing I can have in my hand. So I read, and I fall in love, I think.
And then you wrote you it was pure inspiration for a bunch of
Yeah.
album stuff. It's very, very like I'm always like, oh, what am I going to write about next? Luckily,
Ah.
the most recent album that I'm writing right now, it came to me in a dream, so I'm okay there. But the next record, I have no idea what I'm going to write about at this point. So at least with this, there's it's the universe is so big that you can pick and choose and dance around with different Lovecraft thematics, which is what you
It's
did for
true.
this new record.
Yeah, and yes, and I think there is something wrong. When I compose a new album for the Great Old One, generally I began with the music, so not all the music, but just one or two songs, you know. And after that, generally this song uh, made me think about a Lovecraft story. So generally, I have no problem to find what story I want to adapt because I begin to make some songs, and after that, the story
It
comes
just fits
itself.
there.
Yeah, and with Kadath, it was very easy because when I compose, I don't remember what song I began to compose first, but I think after one or two songs, I say, oh, it's maybe it's brighter than the previous album.
Mm.
Maybe it's more epic. And I say, oh, it remember me the Dreamcraft of Enoch Kadath. That I didn't read since a long time. But so I read again this short story, and after that I say, whoa, man, it's perfect. And after that, I continue to compose the music with the story in my mind.
That's awesome. That's super, super interesting. Because then like the music is inspiring the lyrics are inspiring the music. It's like a true concept that's just dancing around and
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, and it's
Basically
really
like a soundtrack to the
like a
short story.
soundtrack. I really want to make a soundtrack of a story or Lovecraft story. All the time it's this thing. Or and there is two different things. Sometimes I want my music, our music, it's about is a soundtrack or maybe it's a book, you know. I really
Mm.
want our listeners listen to our music like they read a book. It's the same thing with imagination and there is different level of vision because you can just listen to the music, you can listen to the music with the lyrics, you can listen with the lyrics, the music and the book. So there is different level of vision of
So interesting.
listening, and it's nice, I think.
It's very cool. And I also like that I had something inspiring. Oh yeah, so you're mentioning that it was brighter and more epic, these early
Yeah,
tracks that you were working on. Did that
yeah.
continue? Did you force yourself to continue to write in that vein once you did choose the dreamscape versus what you were doing before, where it was darker, you were mentioning?
No, not especially because after I read again the short story, I think I want to compose about this story. So now all depend of the part of the
Okay.
story. So I think sometimes it's epic, sometimes it's dark, sometimes it's brighter, sometimes the dream quest of Inokadas have really fantasy elements mixing with horror elements. It's
Okay.
different as the other. It's in the dream cycle. Literally, we say about Lovecraft the dream cycle. There were a lot of story, and the dream quest is I don't know apotheose. I don't know the word in English, but the last thing of the dream cycle, and. But in the other story, in the Cthulhu mythos, there is only dark,
Mm.
only
Okay.
disparate and dark. But in the Dream Cycle and the Dream Quest, there is something different. So I think you can listen to that on Kadath, on our album, because it's very various. There is a sometimes it's dark, sometimes it's brighter, sometimes it's just about melancholy, sometimes all depend on the Ronald Carter feelings at the time of the story.
Very cool. That's like freeing, back to freedom again. Freeing to you as a writer where you can explore different emotions.
Yeah, but maybe it's a freedom, but at the same time, I have to respect the story. So
Yeah.
maybe a lyricist who writes about himself have more freedom than me. But with that story, of course, I understand I have more freedom because I can't make a lot of feelings and emotion in the on the album, and sometimes in the same song you have
Mhm.
the first extract, Meet the Dreamer. It's a two-part song. The beginning
Mhm.
is very epic, very you want to go on your quest, and just on the second part it's very darker, more violent, but in the story it's exactly that.
Has this the role-playing games, has that translated into your merchandise?
Sorry.
Have you created like role-playing games based around each album? I think that'd be cool for your fans to be
Ah.
able to like buy something and then play the game, but in this true story that you've crafted.
Oh, it's a very good idea, but to be honest, I'm not sure I have the time to make that. Yes. But to be honest, again, I have not myself the time to play role-playing games now.
No, that's
So
what happens, yeah.
it will be difficult to write a role-playing game for other people. I
If
think,
anyone's listening that wants to do this, hit up Benjamin because it's a good idea. I'll let him
yeah,
have it.
it's true. It's a good idea. Yeah. Maybe
We're
one day.
we're both on Seasons of Mist. This record is coming out. Kadath is coming out January 24th via Seasons. Talk to me about that. Talk to me about getting on Season. How long have you been working with them? What's your experience with them like? Cryptopsy, we're almost a year. Maybe we're like 6 to 8 months that we signed with them, and so far we're extremely
Okay.
happy. Everyone there is amazing. Gordon, Michael, Will just have been awesome. What's your experience with Season?
Oh, it was nice. Our first label, Les Acteurs de l'Ombre in French, is the dark actor, I think in English, but
Shadow actors, yeah.
shadow actors, yes.
Yeah.
But it's in French, Les Acteurs de l'Ombre was very nice label, but we felt that there is another step with Season of Mist because about the US distribution, of
Oh
course,
yeah.
it's a important thing, and the team is very nice, very professional, and really support the band. I think they were for. So, well, it was nice. We began with our third album, EOD, A Tale of Dark Legacy. And after that, we made Cosmicism, and now Kadath. Uh, all the time, it was great. It's great now. I think it's a French label, so it's perfect for us, of course. But now they are an international label, but when I talk to French people, so it's better, it's easier
Mhm.
for me.
Communication wise for yourself, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes. But no, it's not me. And I have to precise. I'm sure you know that, but I think the biggest independent label. It's true independent now. So I think it's very different than the
It's
some.
the other competitors. Century Media, Nuclear Blast, I think both of them are under Sony now. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like I'm right.
Exactly. Yeah, it's
But
true.
Season
Uh,
is still
it's still
standing strong on
independent,
their own independently.
independent in mind, independent in work. So I think it's a great thing.
Heck yes. Um, if you could, I don't know if you have it. Do you have a tour coming up to promote this album? If you could hand pick a tour where you put yourself on a stage with the perfect lineup, bigger bands that would put you in front of a huge crowd of people, what would that tour be? I know you did the Gulls Wind. That's a good
Mm,
tour. That was a good tour. But what what
yeah,
what what would be the dream lineup to promote the great old ones to the most amount of people for you?
Okay, so I have two answers to that. The first one is not to promote just for myself. I want Metallica and the Great Old One. I'm a huge fan of Metallica, and just an apart about on the Kadath, there is a very long instrumental songs, lang,
Mm,
15 minutes, and I think it's an homage to the Metallica songs on the first album.
heck
On the
yes.
first album, there was always an instrumental song, and I was
That's
in
where that
love with
it
this
gets
song.
stemmed from there.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to draw with Metallica, but in a more promote things, I think promote the way. Wow, I think for us something like Emperor. I'm a huge fan of
Yes.
Emperor. I think it's my black metal
And they're
band, you
touring
know.
again.
Yeah,
For a
I saw it
while,
in the
I
US.
know, for a while they were just doing these festival appearances, but now this gives hope
Yeah,
that they're actually touring again. It's very exciting.
yeah, but I'm not very happy with this tour because we are not on this tour.
Come
But
on, Ishan.
no, mais Emperor. I like BMOS. I played 2 or 3 times. I don't remember with BMOS, and I think it it could be a great step for us to
Mhm.
make a tour with BMOS
Heck yes.
because there is a lot of atmosphere in their music, and I think atmosphere and our music. It could be a great package. Maybe Emperor BMOS. It's the
Ooh.
same. I think co-headlining because
Yeah, at this point, I think, yeah.
yeah, and just us. Up.
That, it's in the universe now, Benjamin. It's going to happen. When it happens, you'll write me an email. You say, "Oh my God, it happened," and I'll be like, "I saw."
Oh,
I have
I
one last
hope.
question, the classic
Yeah.
Vox and Hops wrap-up question. It probably doesn't happen to you very often. Maybe it happened to you back in the day when you were 14, but when you're young, this doesn't tend to happen, so that's not true. What is your hangover cure? When you wake up feeling like crap after drinking too much red wine, after drinking too many IPAs, too many Belgian beers is actually the sneaky dangerous one. What do you do to make yourself feel better? What is your hangover cure?
I'm think I'm sorry. I'm sick. I'm too old now, so I have no a perfect cure. Normally, it's just when I was but I think it's like old people. But when I was 20 years old, I can drink, drink,
And then
drink,
we
drink.
bounce right
Yeah,
back. Right at
yeah.
work the next day, no
Go in
problem.
class
Yeah.
in the morning, in the next morning, perfect. But now, to be honest, hangover are so hard, so fucking hard. So. So now I think a lot of water, some paracetamol, and some vitamins. Maybe it's the only way to be better and sleep a
Yeah.
lot.
Yep. You have to plan ahead, people, and be
And a good
prevent.
horror movie. And a good
Yes,
horror
there you
movie.
go.
I think
Yeah,
it's a perfect way.
I like that. Benjamin, thank you so much for taking the time talking to me about
Sure.
your life, music, craft beer, talking about Kadath, the new record coming out January 24th, Season of Mist. I'm stoked about it, and I hope that I'm playing near Bordeaux so we can hang out in May.
Yeah, with pleasure. Thank you
Massive
very
cheers.
much. Cheers.
Hey, thank you all so much for listening right today. And you know that I love and appreciate that. Man, this was an awesome conversation. Not only do I love hanging out with like-minded fellow metal musicians, I love hanging out with musicians that happen to be part of the Season of Mist roster. What a cool thing this is to do. We get to hang out. We basically experience the same great care that Season of Mist puts into their artists, and I'm beyond stoked to be a part of it, and I'm beyond stoked to have connected with Benjamin, and I'm happy that he's also on Season of Mist. You guys should definitely go check out his brand new record, Kadath, which is a Lovecraftian black metal themed record. It drops tomorrow, January 24th. It's a whole experience, as you heard throughout this conversation. I'm stoked about it, and I'm pretty sure that all of you will enjoy it as well. Massive cheers to Benjamin. I can't wait to hang out with you face to face, hopefully really soon, maybe on that Decapitated tour that I'm coming to Europe. That would make me super, super excited to do so. Massive, massive cheers. The Vox and Hops Metal Podcast is brought to you by Sound Talent Media and Evergreen Podcasts. I hope you have a great rest of the week. I will be back with another episode next Thursday, but until then, remember to enjoy life, metal, and craft beer. Cheers, Vox and Hops heads.